Okay. I'll give you guys all a minute to open up your Excel and then we'll start. Okay. All right, so for now, just click anywhere. Let's just highlight this box here. Doesn't matter where. Go to Insert. And we're going to pick charts. So pick the scatter plot chart. So now it has the y-axis and your x-axis, right? No, we've talked about this a little bit already, but this is always going to be the independent variable, and this will be our dependent. Now let's go ahead and create. So here on quick layout, you can put some titles for the axes and the chart itself. So I'm just going to pick something that looks decent. Layout 1 looks okay. I'll call this time t, I guess. And this would be, I don't know, height, which is a function of time. Okay. So if there was an equation form, right, that'd be s of t equals some function, right? Like if it's throwing a ball in the air or whatever, it'd be something like this. But anyway. All right, so we got our axes up top. Go back here. Quick layout, you know what? I want a title. Should be a title there. It's here. Oh man, erased it. Oh, well, that's fine for now. Okay, so I'm gonna create some data here. I'll make this my time t or x, right? But I'll put in parentheses, I mean time. This will be your y variable, which is position. And if that's weird, just leave it as x or t and s of t, which makes more sense to me as, you know, with the math background. Since Excel likes x and y, I will leave it this way. Anyway, so typing 1, 2, 3 on the x, then drag it from the bottom corner, and then it'll make a sequential output here. So in ascending order, 1 through 15. Now over here, I'm going to create some random variables, or some random numbers actually. So just type equals. I'm going to type the number 100 times the function random, R-A-N-D, and just leave it blank and press enter. So see, here is a random number that it generated. Drag it all the way down. And we have a bunch of data points. So this will be our time. This will be our heights. Again, these are just random, so it doesn't really matter. You can decrease your decimal points if it looks too weird. Leave 2, I guess. Doesn't matter. And you can start selecting the data by going back to the graph. There we go. Finally get that little box. Okay, so double click the graph and you can do you can select your data, because right now it's selecting this right now as our data, which doesn't mean anything. So click select data. Right now, see, it has blank series, so it's using this. So I'll just remove that and click add. So for the series, we'll call it height. For X, we will choose this. Oops. For Y, we will choose all these guys. It's too far. Then press OK. So as you can see, we create well, it's supposed to be a scatter plot. So I don't know why I did a time series. Let's go back. So when this happens and you want a different kind of graph, you can choose change chart type and just click scatter. Let's throw 1 into 2. Okay. All right. Now click the axes so I can show you all the options that how you can modify this or see what you want to look at or how big of an axis. Should I count by 2s or should I count by 1s? You know, see, it's doing currently 2s for whatever reason. It kind of tries to do its own thing to help you out, but sometimes it's not what you want. Like for example, let's say you had, if you change the bounds, right? Because you want to see up to 100. So now everything's kind of squished over here because the axis has changed. Now, if you want to see, if you have it by 1s, right, you can even see it. Zoom in a bit. Still cannot see it. Oops. Okay. What we could do is click through his measure. You can type in 20 in there, you know, skip by 20s. Or if you have it up to 50, you say, you know what, I want to see it by 10s. You can adjust what you want to see. Originally it was 16s. I'm going to change it back. And it was supposed to be 1s. So here's the 1s. 1 through 16. Even though it stops at 15, they put an extra one just to create an outer bound for like an inclusive set. Okay. All right. So we can also do all kinds of customization. We go into this bucket here. So you can choose solid fill lines, gradient fill. You can change the width. You do really all kinds of things here. Let's see, where's the tick marks? You can choose various colors. That's something I wanted to show you, but I can't find it. Here we go. Tick marks. Oh well. Anyway, do you guys have any questions on creating a scatter plot or being able to change to some of the basic plots, like this time series plot over here? There's a lot of strange options that are not necessary, but mainly once you'll have a homework later where they're going to have you insert data and create a plot. That might be like one question on your upcoming homework.
How do we change between the plots when we already have like the data selected and everything?
Oh, you mean like if it's already made? So if you just click your graph and then go to change chart type. But it only works with certain types of charts, because if you go into a more complex chart, which we'll talk about next time, the histogram, then you'll need more information and you won't be able to do it. But you should be able to do anything in this category, or things that have X and a Y type stuff.
I think someone in the chat said that. Asked if you again.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's go back. So anyway, to answer your question, yeah, you just click the chart and go to change chart type. You just can't go to histogram.
Got it.
To make the chart again, did you have any issues making the random numbers and these little points here?
You just typed in RAND and then parentheses and then times 100, right? I think.
Yeah, exactly. So we just created some random numbers, multiplied by 100, because I wanted to make sure they were somewhat big, and because I think the general RAND usually does small numbers. So I did 100 times to move the decimal. Now to make the chart, we can do it all over again. I'm gonna copy these guys. Well, that doesn't matter. Okay. So all I did was just select the blank spot. That way it's not a blank graph and you can go to insert. So what I have to do is insert, go to charts, and pick a chart you want, and I choose scatter. Then after that, you just click your graph, and you can start adding data, but we should create the data first. But over here, you can create the layout. So I chose the first one. That way I can name the axes. Then I created my data over here, X and Y. 1, 2, 3, who cares? I'll use 20 this time, doesn't matter. Type equals first to use a function command, 100 times random. Oops, I didn't close the parentheses. Got mad at me. Okay, so now I have random different numbers this time, right? So click your graph to go insert the data, just double click, select data. So in here, I'm going to remove that because I only did that because I didn't want to see the blanks, but oops. There we go. So add my X values, delete this just because I want it to be blank, add my Y values, series name doesn't matter, but calling it height. And there's my graph. And you can just type in whatever names you want. Oops. Yeah, I'm curious about what happens if I add more data points. And it looks like it's continuing to update the graph a little bit. Let's see. The selection stops here. I'm going to select more. There we go. So you can technically add to this graph by just dragging once the selections are made, or you can go back in there, right, and select, change the selection. And start over. Oh man, messed it up. There we go. Okay. Anyone have any other questions on making the scatter plot?